Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so my name's Andre Angel Calcano. I'm gonna go over quickly what I did. I ended up changing things a little bit last minute because I figured out a cleaner way of inheriting the player class into the enemy class, because before I just copied the information from the player class into it, and it was really messy and disorganized. But for one of the functions that I just finished typing up, it's basically a random movement function. So if the enemy can't detect that the current player is on there and they're not a certain distance, they'll just randomly move. If they're in a certain distance, they will be alerted, and that alert will change to true. And then after that, they'll start going towards the person. But I didn't have enough time to start on that function. That was like the pseudo-code or the algorithm that I wrote for the random function. I declared the sprite for the enemy tanks right here, and that's the enemy class. So I defined it to take a sprite, a position, an angle, and a p number. The p number are really important for the player numbers, but we're just going to set that to 0 because they're not important. Inside the enemy class, we define a player class, and the player class controls all the movement of the sprite. I defined a clock running function for every enemy that gets created. Amount of time, if it's alive or not, the health, and the alert. I created accessors or getters. You send it a message. You ask it if it's alive. It gives you the status of if it's alive or not. If the clock is running, what's the health and the time. And for the mutators or the setters, if the enemy gets killed, you send it a die message and you change it for the alive from true to false. You do the same thing if you want to put it alive, but that'll only happen if there's a new level. If you want to set a time, it calls the set time function. And actually, that's supposed to be. I was supposed to change that. It's supposed to be set time speed. This will change the time and the amount of time the enemy will be heading towards a certain direction. Probably have to fix that later. Yeah, so there's a little error right there, but the start message calls start on the clock. Says clock running to time, and clock running to true, and it sets the new time to the clock of that specific enemy. If the time runs out, it'll call stop, and clock running will be false, and the time will be set to 0. This is what creates the enemy list. So it will call the make etank function, set the sprite, have the coordinates, they're randomly generated in the angle, and you get to specify the amount of enemies you want. And then for each enemy, for each level, um, we're going to keep putting 10 and 10 and 10 more enemies on the level. That's what I got done. It was a lot messier beforehand. I tried including my partner's file for the player class, but it was throwing an error, so I have to fix that. But that's basically it.